Hey guys, so I bought this Imagitarium Freshwater Frameless Aquarium. It's a 6.8 gallon tank. I saw terrible reviews on the filtration, so I'm going to be ripping this out. I have gloves on, I have a knife, and then my husband's bringing some pliers, and we're going to tear this out. And so far, this is all I can break. And then we're going to be cutting the silicone off. I'm going to do a quick voiceover on this portion of the video and fast forward it because it gets pretty lengthy. Here it shows my husband wearing working gloves and using a needle nose plier to slowly rip off each piece of acrylic. The acrylic pieces were very sharp. Please use working gloves if you're doing this at home. And my husband ended up putting on a pair of sunglasses because the shards were literally flying everywhere. We wanted to save a trip to the hospital. So make sure you're protecting your eyes and your hands so you don't get cuts or anything in your eyeballs. So yeah, this is what we're doing with the tank. I bought the tank with the intention of actually pulling the whole entire stock infiltration out, just based on like reviews that I read online. Terrible reviews on the infiltration system that it came with, because it's an all-in-one aquarium. So it comes with the lights, the filter, the lid, everything. I did Google, just regular cube tanks, but when you think about like the shipping, and some of the aquariums that were cube didn't even come with a lid, and the lid that this aquarium actually came with is pretty equivalent to how thick the glass is of the whole aquarium in general, which is pretty nice. I don't have any complaints about that. What we'll be doing actually is tearing out the filtration system, including the little dividers of glass that you'll see right here. We're going to be taking those out as well. Once we're done, we're going to be putting a hang off the back filter. I did buy a Chem Title 35 for this aquarium specifically. It's supposed to be able to fit flush so that the lid doesn't like hang over too much. And I will keep the stock light that it came with because it's pretty bright. I can dim it out using, what's it called? Tissue paper. I use tissue paper to dim the power of the light. Because sometimes my fish, he doesn't like the lights as bright. He'll actually hide under the aquarium decor because it will be too bright for him. He is older. He's about 3 years old. He actually does have cataracts. So yeah, this will be his new home, and right now I currently have a Flupal Spec 5. It's a 5-gallon tank, and the filtration is pretty much awful, just like this one is, based on the reviews. To do a hang off the back filter would have just been too much. So we decided to go ahead and go with this aquarium and see how it turns out. Once we were done with the acrylic portion of the aquarium, we moved on to the glass partitions. I was able to actually figure out an easy way to take them off. I would bend them back and forth. It would loosen the aquarium silicone, and you just keep going back and forth. I would use the Xacto knife intermittently to loosen the silicone as well, but for the most part, for the two partitions in the middle, bending them back and forth were pretty easy, and I was able to keep them in whole pieces as I was removing them. The most difficult part of this aquarium was actually the stuff that was left, and the reason why was because there was 2 pieces of glass that were glued together and on the sides of the walls of the aquarium. So it was easier to honestly start off with using my Xacto knife to kind of loosen the aquarium silicone. I kept going back and forth, and I decided that going to the diagonal glass would be easier if I took that one off of the bigger piece of glass, because after this I was able to basically do the same thing where I wiggled back and forth and pull the glass off whole without shattering it and cutting myself and ruining the tank as well. So I figured out an easier way. You're gonna flex this.
So you want to flex the glass.
And cut all the way down. Should lose it now. Okay, so now you're gonna hold this glass and you're gonna grab that and you're just gonna, where are we connected at? Okay, we're good. Taking off the last glass partitions were a little bit more difficult because the partitions were so close to the actual aquarium glass itself. My husband had to use the Xacto knife to basically cut off the silicone and wiggle it free from there. Like I said earlier in the video, try not to cut yourself and do your best to keep the partitions together and don't shatter them. They are thick glass, but if you use too much muscle, you can easily break them in half. So yeah, my husband just cut piece by piece out and was able to take them out. And then the final portion, which was actually the hardest part of the whole entire aquarium itself, was to take out these weird dividers. They're plastic. Using the pliers, every time we would try to pull them out using the pliers, because it was like acrylic and not that thick, it would just break off. So my husband had to take off the Xacto knife and basically wedge it between the aquarium glass and the acrylic partition grid area, and he used the pliers to basically push the knife as far as he could down. Once he was able to loosen it up a little bit, we were able to grab the pliers and pull it out a little bit, and he used his hand to glide it across the aquarium glass and pull it off. Okay, so all the pieces are out. I tried to take as much silicone as I can off. However, there is some residue left, as you can see. We rinsed it out because I'm going to try the hair dryer in isopropyl alcohol 91% and just take out the smudges. So we just rinsed it outside because it had a lot of shards in it. You can see there's some residual. I don't really care about that because the gravel's going to be there, so why work hard, right? Okay, so I took off a lot of the excess lines. I tried rubbing alcohol and didn't really work. What I can tell you not to use is a dish sponge because it will leave little tiny scratches, very micro, only on one side I tried. So what I did is to get all these lines off, and then I have these two and that one and this one, and I'm not going all the way down because this is where the seal is, so I'm leaving a little bit left because it's going to be covered by gravel and it's the back of it anyways. But I use the hair dryer and the blade, and it loosens the silicone and it comes up nicely. Okay, so you can see it comes up pretty good. So I'll take a video when I'm done. Okay, so we are done. We have completely taken out the back portion, and this was the filter was originally. We left the silicone because it's kind of connected to the window where it's attached right there. So we just left it for extra protection because you don't want to ruin all your hard work after taking all the filtering off. So it's done. I just rinsed it out. No way am I endorsing, you know, buy this aquarium and do this, because this is just what we decided to do. I had a fluval spec and I wasn't pleased with it, so we decided to do this one. Plus it's a 6.8 gallon and the fluval spec was 5. So we're excited. And then once I set this all up, I am going to set this guy up, the Title 35. Apparently this is a hang off the back filter and it's self-priming. So if our power goes out, then it'll self-prime because we're gonna be going out of town soon. Some Purigen, some extra sponge stuff. And then I have another one that I'm waiting to get. This is my new beta fish, Fatty. He's a king galaxy koi. He has a aqua clear hanging off the back, but we're actually gonna be transitioning him to a title. I just bought him yesterday. For my big aquarium, it's going to be Bumblebee Beta. He's currently in this Tupperware while I get everything all set up, and I will do another shoot of him once he's in there. He's kind of mad right now. And then that's Chip. We recently lost a snail named Gary, who was a 50-cent piece golden Inca sized snail. He was alive for 3 years and we lost him, so it's just him and Chip now. So this is the final product of the Imagitarium 6.8 gallon frameless aquarium, except it's nicer because now my fish gets the full 6.8 gallons to swim around in. It's so flawless. And then this is the lid that it came with. It fits perfectly, even with the hang on of the back filter. And if you do an aqua clear, it'll probably even lay more flat, like flush. But because I have the Sea-Chem, it does kind of stick out a little bit. There's a gap right there. But if you look, it's not even hanging over. So it's a doable thing. This light right here is the stock light that the tank came with. And like I said, this is the Sea-Chem Title 35. It is a self-priming filter, which is great if you go out of town and your power turns off. We recently had a power outage for 8 hours. So if that happens again, we will be okay if we're out of town. Sorry, the water's a little cloudy because of the Purigen, but I'm really happy with the results. And as you can see, the Seachem Tidal has a filter that filters the top so you don't get that protein sediment layer, and then it also has one on the side but you can't see it. And to make it more safe, I put a sponge inside where those filter slips are, inside underneath. Inside the filtration system there is a stock sponge, it's coarse, and then I have one of those blue and white sponges on top with carbon, and then filter mix biomedia, and then another one of those. I'm waiting for a finer floss to come in from Amazon, but it's not here yet. So that'll just take all those little fine particles out. My fish will go in there tomorrow, wherever he's at. And Chip. And the heater, once it kind of like clears up a little bit. That's it, guys. This is what it will look like if you take your stock infiltration system off the back of a Imagitarium 6.8 gallon aquarium. It's doable. Another guy had said that he wouldn't buy this tank and then just like do all the modifications, but I'm gonna tell you it's worth it. However, I don't endorse you that you do that because that's up to you, and you are signing up for a lot of hard work. It probably took 4 hours to do everything, but we're happy, and this tank is flawless. So, and it comes with a lid, which is amazing, and there is a feeding hole. If you have any questions, comment below, and that's it. Like I said, this is just what we did. This was our plan. We had nothing to lose, and we were able to do our own filtration system. And that's it. The man, the legend.